This eliminates their overhead, their profit, which account for about half of every healthcare dollar, their bean counting, and their interference between doctor and patient. And I therefore propose a doctor-run, single-payer national health. Now, as a step toward the living wage, I propose that the minimum wage be indexed for inflation, and over a 10-year period be raised to what it would have been had it been so indexed at its creation. Currently, over $14 an hour. Now, as you know, the previous administration resigned under threat of impeachment. They were being impeached over their exploitation of the 9/11 tragedy to deceive this nation into unnecessary and illegal wars of aggression. They still, by the way, face court-martial for abuse of power as Commander-in-Chief. Now, the evidence of their guilt is overwhelming. This evidence is in the PNAC document calling for the permanent occupation of Iraq, justified by a new Pearl Harbor. It is in Richard Clarke's book, in which he notes an immediate attempt by the Bush administration to tie Iraq to 9/11, regardless of the facts. It is in videotaped statements of Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld themselves, in which they use 9/11 to attempt to justify the Iraq War. It is in CIA documents which show that Wolfowitz, Pearl, Libby, Veith, and others cherry-picked intelligence for use by Cheney and their other bosses. It is in the Downing Street memo which notes that intelligence was being tailored to fit the policy. And it is in speeches by me and others prior to the invasion of Iraq in which we laid out the truth, predicted the inevitable results, and noted that such an invasion would be an impeachable offense and an act of treason. Yeah. There is also evidence of a massive cover-up with respect to 9/11 itself. The official 9/11 report, tightly controlled by the White House, amounts to little but a whitewash. When combined with the confiscation of videotapes, audio tapes, black boxes, and other evidence by the FBI, it is clear that regardless of who was responsible for 9/11, the subsequent cover-up was itself a conspiracy involving elements of the White House and the intelligence establishment. Now, this is important because remember, Richard Nixon wasn't undone by the two-bit break-in at the Watergate, but for the cover-up. Bill Clinton wasn't impeached for his sexual encounters with Monica Lewinsky, but for stretching the truth when asked about it. Scooter Libby wasn't convicted for leaking Valerie Plane's identity, but for lying about when he learned about it. And Martha Stewart didn't serve time for insider trading, but for not telling the truth. Is there anyone who believes that the Bush administration always told the truth about 9/11? No. Well, you know, this raises the question. If the Bush administration had nothing to hide, why did they hide everything? Were they covering up guilt or incompetence? Now, if it was incompetence, why was no one fired or demoted or court-martialed or even reprimanded? And if it was guilt, were the guilty parties Saudis, Pakistanis, Israelis, Americans, all of the above? And why on earth aren't the people's representatives in Congress asking these questions and demanding answers? The American people have still not been told the truth about who was really responsible for 9/11. Dedicated researchers have proven that it could not have happened the way the Bush administration said it did. I mean, hijacked airliners do not fly around for an hour and 40 minutes without being intercepted, unless our air defense system was deliberately sabotaged. Indestructible black boxes, by the way, they're not black, they're bright orange. They should have been found. Black boxes do not evaporate in the same fire from which unharmed passports float to the ground below.